What's going on, everybody? We are back. It is episode 3 of A Successful Frontier. The weather last week, Mother Nature dealt us a fast one last week, man. The snow pretty much made it impossible for me to get out here to my partner Sean's house to record last week's episode, so we're doing it today. So apologies to everybody for the delay, but we're back. We got episode 3 coming out. We were able to finally, I think, get past the winter here in Virginia. Finally, this weekend, we had a beautiful weekend. It was in the 50s and 60s coming up until Sunday, and it's still beautiful outside. The sun is shining. The snow is finally going away. Hopefully, we are done with it, and it's finally spring. Hope everybody remember to set their clocks forward. Time to spring forward, spring into the future. Obviously, spring into your dreams, spring into all the goals. Take that literally, spring forward. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's enjoying the podcast so far. Like I said, everybody just bear with us. We're going to get this thing better and better each and every week. And eventually we will get this thing uploaded on iTunes. Right now we're just taking it slowly, sticking with the YouTube channel, eventually getting the audio onto iTunes once we get everything straightened out. And of course, this podcast is made possible by your kind donations on our GoFundMe account. We are keeping this thing free, but we are open to any kind of donations because this is something that we would like to do and keep doing and eventually do full time. So definitely check us out on GoFundMe and definitely give us a like on Facebook, Successful Frontier. We are on Facebook, and search us out, give us a like. We post all of our videos and links up there from our YouTube channel. And we also have a blog spot that we are currently trying to get that straightened out. Need to definitely get some audio up there and definitely get some literature up there. I'm about to start posting on that this week, hopefully, barring everything goes well. And other than that, it has been a very, very busy week for me. Because of that darn snow, my schedule got thrown around all over the place. I had to reschedule so many personal training appointments, and I was just busy constantly, day in and day out, all the way up until this very morning. I had clients. Anyway, and also had second football practice going into the spring flag football season. My knee is feeling good. The knee felt great today during practice. Took it slowly at first and was able to get up to speed. Everybody was there, minus, I think, 1 or 2 people. So we had a full practice. Everything went great, and we're ready for the season in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, enough about me. I'm sure my friend Sean over here had a fantastic week. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do? What was the most interesting thing that happened this week? Was it your mom's neighbor that came up to you?
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
That scared me.
I'm pretty sure that's probably the most interesting thing that happened all week.
Yeah, it's up there.
What happened exactly? Like what?
I don't know. I don't know what I did. He stared at me, said, "I know what you did a few years ago," and walked into the house.
Yeah, that would probably leave anybody in their tracks. Yeah.
And like his only child is like 15 years old, so
yeah, definitely wasn't.
I'm like, what did I do?
Now you have to take a self-inventory,
Yeah.
make a trip back to the past, find out what did I.
I mean,
That's funny though. That would stop anybody in their tracks. Be like, what?
okay.
I hope I'm being mistaken for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember doing anything.
Nope.
Anyways, yeah. So, anything else going on this week? Did you get work on any other projects? Anything going on? Or what?
Well, I lucked out because all the work I have to do, I can do from my house. So
Exactly. For me, on the other hand, everything involves travel.
You're traveling all over the place.
Yeah, that comes with the territory, man. But you
Yep.
know, thankfully I get paid. Thankfully I get paid very very kindly, and that is a big shout out to all of my clients who might be listening out there. Thank you very much. You feed me. You keep gas in my car so I can see you, and you keep food in my stomach so I don't die. Thank you very much, everyone. But anyway, enough small talk. We'll get right into the bread and butter of this message this week. I'm gonna tell you all a little parable here. All right, this is talking about desire, motivation, and just the very essence of our podcast. But this is a parable that was actually made famous by, like I've mentioned him before. He's one of my favorite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas. On a side note, if you haven't already, please go check him out. You can search his name on YouTube, and you'll get hundreds of videos of him talking to schools, NFL teams, basketball teams, colleges. You name it. He has been all over the world and giving these talks. But he tells this one parable, and in case you haven't heard it, it's called "The Lion and the Gazelle." Now, what he means by that is, think about a gazelle. Think about what is the gazelle doing when the lion's not chasing it. The gazelle is just, that's not going anywhere. It's just hanging out. It's grazing. It's standing still. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. It has no drive. But what happens when that lion comes and is hunting the gazelle? That's when the gazelle takes off. It starts moving. It has something that's pushing it to move and to run. So, with that being said, it's like a lot of people these days, when it comes to working on their goals, working on their dreams, they're a lot of like gazelles. They don't have anything that's pushing them, anything that's driving them, nothing that's making them get up and move and work and put in the work and put in the sweat and put into all the hard work that they need to. But what about that lion though? The lion, on the other hand, has a reason. It's got something to motivate them. The lion's mentality is, if I don't catch this gazelle, we don't eat. If I don't catch this gazelle, my cubs are going to die. I have to catch this gazelle. And that is the motivation behind it. So that's what I'm talking about. You guys got to change your mindset. Your mindset's got to be, you got to be like that lion. You got to have something that's pushing you, something that's driving you, something just like that lion. If I don't hunt, we don't eat. If I don't catch this gazelle, we're not going to survive out here. So you got to think about yourself. What am I? What am I right now? Am I the gazelle or am I the lion? Look at your situation. Look at the work that you're doing. Look at the goals. Look at your current status in life right now. Are you a gazelle or are you a lion? Are you moving forward or are you standing still? Are you grazing or are you hunting? Everybody needs something to motivate them in life. Everybody, whether it be their family, if you're old enough, if you have kids, if it's your kids, if it's your better half, or if it's just, your friends or the city you came from, it can be anything, even if it's just for yourself. Everybody needs something to motivate them. The problem is, most of the time, y'all need something external to motivate you, to push you, whatever it be, a coach, your parents, your boss, or a deadline, or whatever. If you don't have someone that's breathing down your neck, everybody gets complacent. People get complacent. They get too comfortable. They just get too comfortable with their situation. If they're just, like I said, that gazelle mentality, if nothing's right there at that moment that's saying this is do or die, you got to move, and that's when you move. Most of y'all aren't getting to where you want to go because your character ain't right. You have the skills, you have the knowledge, you may have all the skills that you need, all the knowledge. You may be the most talented, say, player on your football team, or the smartest guy in your classroom, or in your business, or at your job. But, you guys may have the talent, but your character hasn't been sharpened yet. The last place you want to be is somewhere where your character can't handle. Think about that for a second. Your talent, your knowledge can take you places to where your character is not going to be able to handle it. I'm here to ask you to search deep within yourself and find out why you do what you do. What is it that's pushing you? Why do you want to be successful? What's pushing you? What's driving you? What's making you put in the work? What's making you, put into training, to spend that extra hour at the lab or at the training room or anywhere? What is pushing you? What's your why? When I decided for myself, I'll give you an example. When I decided for what I wanted to do, that is personal training and football. It's convenient that they go hand in hand, because personal trainer, I kind of have to be in shape to be a personal trainer. No one's going to take advice from someone who's out of shape, right? But same thing goes for football. I got to be in shape to try and play football. But I was unemployed, but still getting up at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. because I knew I had to eat, study, and train. That was my agenda. Eat, study, train, and then at the end of the day, rest. I knew my future relied on me passing the personal training exam. That was it. That was the deadline. I had something. I was like, all right, if I don't pass this test, I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have an income. I got something right now to hold me by. I have some support, but I have to pass this test. I've invested too much not to pass this test and not to get that job, because the job was waiting for me. They said, you pass that test, you bring us that certificate, you got a job. So I knew my future relied on me passing the PT test, and then also on top of that, getting stronger, getting faster. And that pushed me to say no to sleeping in. No, not to hit the snooze button. Because easily, when somebody's in that situation where all they have to do is study and train, and they don't have to worry about anything else, just study and train, it's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to say, I can just get up at 10. I can get up at 11. I was up a little late last night. I'm going to sleep in a little bit. No, that's when you start getting complacent. That's when you start getting too comfortable. That's when you start not working hard enough. And that's when you start taking things for granted. And then that just starts a downward spiral. I knew for myself that I had to continue to get up early. I kind of had to have that working mentality that eventually, I'm gonna need to start getting up early for a job anyway. I need to stay on that track. And plus, the earlier I get up, the more time I have to grind out the studying, grind out the training, and just continue to study. Because this was a big book, and I had to teach everything to myself. I didn't have someone to instruct me. This wasn't some course that I took that had a teacher explaining everything. No, I had to sit and understand everything from human anatomy all the way down to basics of nutrition and program design. I had to teach it all to myself. So that's my example. So you need to find that thing that will push you to get up when your mind says no. Your mind is the battleground. You've probably heard several people, several other speakers say something similar to that. Your mind is the battleground. You got to fight in your mind to say no to saying, sleeping in, saying I could just do it later, or I'm tired, I'm worn out, I'm just gonna put this off and do it tomorrow. See, that's the problem. There's always, that's the problem with a lot of y'all. Y'all saying there's always tomorrow. You're right, there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow is gonna constantly be tomorrow, constantly be later. I can do it another time. That's the problem with tomorrow. Tomorrow's a horrible word. It's horrible, dirty. I think it's a dirty word. Tomorrow is bad. Tomorrow is almost as bad as just saying, oh, I'm just going to do it later. If you're going to say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you might as well say, I'm going to do it later. You know what? You might as well just come right out and say it. I'm not going to do it at all. So you got to find out. You got to find something that's going to push you, whether it be, like I said, your family, friends, just yourself. You got to find something that's going to push you to not hit the snooze button, to get up and go for that early morning run, because that half of the competition might be doing more than you. You always got to remember there's always going to be somebody else out there that's doing more. Someone who is by themselves, alone in a basement. You've heard me probably say that before, but there's always going to be something, and there's also the opposite reason. If you're, say, in competition mode, you're preparing for, preparing for a marathon, you're preparing for a competition, you're preparing for, trying to make the team. You got to get up and go on that early morning run when everybody else is sleeping. You're out there working, you're out there putting the work in, because that there are some people in the competition who ain't doing as much as you. They're the ones who are complacent. Those are the ones who think they got all the talent in the world, think that they have something reserved for them. You know what? It's the hard work that's going to eventually climb those mountains. You got to find your why. Eric Thomas says it all the time. Find your why. What's your why? So I'm going to say it too. And I got to tell you, I've heard it all. I've heard all the excuses. I've heard everything. You know, I'm too tired. I put in the work. I'm too sore. I can't make it. Listen to me. Please, please, please just listen to me for a second. Why do you do what you do that's so important? You know, what is it? What is it that's driving you? I mean, you just got to find it. There's a reason why this something, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, means so much to you. There's a reason for it. You know, just hang on to that thought. Keep grinding and hold on. That's where you'll build your character. Finding your motive, your reason, you know, whatever path you're on, business, sales, sports, medicine, politics, you've got to change your mindset and focus on why it means so much to you. When you want to be successful as much as you want to live, when you think about it to where it hurts so bad, I can attest to that. You know, I think about it all the time. When I want to be successful, I'm thinking about the things I want to do to help people as far as the health and fitness industry. When I think about the business I want to have, when I think about the playing football, playing sports, I know the odds. I know how the odds are, but I don't count the costs. That's a different message, different story. But you know, when I think about it, sometimes I think about the injuries I've overcome. I've injured both of my knees in the span of 1 year training, trying to get ready. I've had to postpone, unfortunately, due to injury. I have had to postpone 2 tryouts because I was injured. I couldn't go. I couldn't even run. I could barely walk. So I know how it is. Some of y'all out there who are thinking about the things that you want to do, it hurts so bad. You're thinking about it, and the more you think about it, the more it just grinds in your chest. It practically rips your heart out. It hurts so bad. I know how that feels. But when you think about it where it hurts so bad, where your life depends on it, just think about the people that you're doing it for. That's what I do. That's what I was doing. I constantly just said, I can't quit. I can't give up. I got to keep going. Remember them, and you can push yourself to run another mile. You can push yourself to do that last set. You can endure another semester at school. You can make it another week at your job. You can find energy where none existed. You can push yourself beyond your limits. Trust me, limits, it's all in your head. Limits, boundaries, it's all in your head. You gotta negotiate with your body to find more strength, more energy to go past those so-called limits that you have in your head. You can easily get past them if you just don't think about it. Just do. You know, instead of thinking, man, I don't think I can go another mile. I don't think I can do this last set. You know what? No, just do. Your body can handle a lot. Your body and your mind can handle a lot more than you think it can. That's how winners are made. Doggone it. That's how they're made. When you're pushing yourself to the point of tears, when you become that lion, if I don't do this, I let them down. If I don't succeed, they don't eat. I can't give up. You know, I can't. I mean, I had the same mentality coming back from this second knee injury. It was bad. And it hurt. It hurt so bad. You know, I remember times where I was sitting by myself crying. And it's okay, man. I'm telling you, it's okay. Sometimes things are just not going to go right. Sometimes you're just going to get tested to the point where you're going to just be broken down to tears. And I'm here to tell you right now, I've been there. I've been alone in a basement where I was living for a while. And I remember just sitting there, you know, my knee being in pain and just having tears because I was just so upset. I was hurting so bad. But you know what? Tears are they're relieving. They can definitely what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But you know, that'll let you go. It's a way to just let go. Let everything go. It's okay to shed some tears. You shed them and then you move on. It's liberating. You can shed those tears and then move on. Because it's overtime. That's what I told myself. I said, you know what? This is overtime. This is endurance right now. I got to keep going. You know, I wish I could tell you that it's going to get easier. I wish I could tell you to slow down and take it easy, but I can't because that's just not the truth. It's going to be hard. It's supposed to be hard because if it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, everybody would do it. but it's hard. It's going to be hard. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be people that are going to be in your way. Don't give up. Because I know that the harder it gets, the harder you need to work. So you got to get up and take that gut check that you get, that life gives you. You're strong enough to take that punch and keep going. When you find your reason, it has to be more important than you. That's one of the biggest things right there, is that your why, your reason, it has to be more important than you. Whatever it is, it has to be more important, because that's honestly what's going to get you through those hard times. It's going to get you through those horrible gut checks that life gives you, those mountains that you need to overcome. That reason has to be more important. And when you get there, you'll get up before the alarm clock. You'll run a longer and faster mile than you thought you could. You'll study longer and harder than the rest of the class, and you'll end up getting a mark you never thought you could. You'll do those extra assignments and work those overtime hours that nobody wants to do, and you'll get that promotion because you deserve it. You need to realize and believe that there's greatness in you. You control your destiny. I believe in God. Right now, I'm going to tell you too, right now, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe God will show the doors, but you must be the one to open them, no matter what it is. No more wishing, no more hoping. It's time to do something. You've wished it, you've hoped it. Now you got to get it into your mind and say, I'm going to make this happen, and believe it, will it into existence. What you cannot do is you just cannot quit while this is going on, while you're working at it, because it isn't, you can't quit during it because it's not what you expected, right off the bat. If that's the case, everybody that's ever been great would have given up right off the jump because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. It's always harder than you thought it was going to be. It's always going to be more than you thought you can handle. But trust me, I'm telling you right now, all of you can handle a lot more than what you think you can. Especially when it, no matter what it is, like when it comes to training for to be on a team, when it comes to, working, when it comes to studying, whatever it is, you can handle a lot more than what you think you can. It's very important for you to remember that no matter what, you can always get through more. You can always get through it. You're going to get through this. You can make it. You need to just keep reminding yourself that it's hard right now, but it's not going to be like this for the rest of my life. Eventually, I'm going to get past this, and the rewards are going to be just, oh man, I can't even put it into words how great and liberating it's going to feel once you get past all those, because you also need to think about how everybody else is looking at you when you're going through these hard times. You think no one's watching you. People are watching you. People are watching how you respond to these challenges, these mountains that you have to overcome. All of these gut checks and obstacles that life throws at you. You can be that inspiration to someone to get through a certain stage in their life, to pursue their dreams. You never know who's watching. You never know who you're going to impact by continuing to work and continuing to get through all the obstacles. Because the next thing you know, when you get to where you want to get to, you could be you can be the light at the end of the tunnel for some people. And some people can look at you and be like, oh man, if he can make it, I can make it. If he did it, then there's no reason why I can't do it. That's the mentality. Because that's probably one of the biggest, most important things for me, is that I want to be able to show other people, say, look, I did it, you can do it. Trust me, if I'm humble enough to say, look, if I can do it, there's no reason why you can't do it. If I can make it through this, if I can be successful, there's no reason why you can't. Because there's a ton of people out there who are smarter than me, more talented than me, but the one thing, this is kind of getting a little off topic, but there's one thing that I can always promise somebody, is that I'm going to put in the work, the hard work and the dedication to improve myself and constantly be better. The heart that I have outweighs the talent, in my opinion. And there was somebody who had a quote. I can't remember the name, but this isn't mine, and this is free. This is outside of the message. So, but this gentleman said, there's a reason why you may be faster than me. You may be a better runner than I am, but there's two things that, there's one thing that separates us. He said, when we get on that treadmill, I'm willing to die before I get off. So when we get on that treadmill and we start running, the two things are going to happen. One of two things are going to happen. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. And that's what separates me and you. So think about that. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. Now, this kind of goes in relation to what I just said. Champions don't quit. It was actually something that was drilled into me at Annandale when I played a little bit of football there. Our group huddle was champs don't choke. So think about that for a second. Champions don't choke. Champions don't quit. They keep going. When they think they've exhausted their last amount of energy, they get back up and they keep running. They keep pushing. They keep fighting. They keep going. They go until their heart stops. That's one that I can tell you right now. I'll go until my heart stops. You need to have that mentality, and nothing's going to stop you. It's like, you know what? I believe in this so bad that I'm willing to die for it. Will Smith said it best. He said this, you just have to decide that, this is what I believe and I'm willing to die for it. That's a quote from Will Smith. So when you're in those hard times, when you're getting all of these obstacles and all of these tests thrown at you that are testing your patience, testing your will, your endurance, just say to yourself, take a deep breath in, accept it, and say, this too shall pass, and keep pressing on. Because that's the only thing you can do. Just don't quit. Don't give up. You can say, if something comes up and then hits you and knocks you down, you have a decision you have to make. This is where character really, we're talking about character now. This is where it really comes in. You can just let it knock you down and let it keep you down, or you can get back up and say, I'm not going to let this happen to me. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. I'm not going to let this destroy my dreams, whether it be a person or something that happens to you. That's another thing is, you can't let other people dictate your dreams. You can't let other people, destroy your dreams, cut them out, because they're all going to be people out there. They may be your best friends. They may be your family. They may be the ones, your family or your friends. They may be the ones who are telling you, oh, you can't do that, or you just, that's never been done before. You can't really do that. You should probably do this instead. Why don't you do this instead? You can't let other people destroy your dreams. And that's because, once you do that, then it's all over. You can't. Think about it like this. If someone's going to give you advice, look at where they are in life. If you're going to take advice from someone, look at where they are in life and then ask yourself, is that where I want to be? Someone from this leader I know in this business, he said it best. It's called basically inspect the fruit of their tree, because all wisdom, all knowledge, it's like fruit. You can give it to anybody, but like I said, if someone is going to give you advice, before you take it, before you actually take it seriously, look at where they are. This will take a couple of seconds. Just look at where they are in life, and then truly ask yourself, is that where I want to be? Is that somewhere that I want to be in life? And if it is, then take their advice. Take it with a grain of salt. But if it's not, if they're somewhere where you definitely don't want to be, then you really need to take that into consideration before you listen to their advice. Now, so many people, they start out with a dream and a passion, but then they just end up settling. They feel like reality sets in, and they're all like, well, I have to be honest about the situation. I have to, I have to let reality sink in. I'm just going to settle for this instead. I'm going to settle for this job, or I'm going to settle for this lifestyle, or I'm just going to settle for this. Trust me, no one has ever gotten anywhere. No one has ever been successful in life. And I mean, truly, truly successful in life just by settling. You got to know what you want and you got to go after it. And your life depends on it. You don't go after it like your life depends on it. You go after it because your life depends on it. You go after your dream and passions because your life depends on it. You deserve it. You deserve to have what you want in this life. Life, I've said it before, life is meant to be abundant. Life is meant to be prosperous. You deserve to live in abundance. You deserve to be prosperous in your life. So you have to be willing to put in the work, though. You got to be willing to make the sacrifices. So many people are focused on making a living. They're so focused on making a living that they forget to make a life. They are so focused on making a living, they forget to build the life that they want. So they just settle for whatever money they can make, and then they don't even work on their life at all. So I have to tell you this, that is pretty much everything we got right now for this week. But I'll just kind of highlight a few things that we just talked about. Like I said, no matter what happens, do not quit during the process. Figure out what it is that's driving you, why you're doing what you want to do, why it's so important to you, why is your dream or your goal so important? What's driving you? And think about the people that you're doing it for. Think about the reasons why you're doing it, to push you through the hard times. And number one, one of the most important things is do not quit and do not give up, because it's not what you expected starting out. Like I said, champions don't quit. And then to say to yourself, when something happens, something that tests your endurance, tests your character, just take that deep breath in, say, this too shall pass, and just press on. Keep fighting and keep grinding until you get to where you want to get. And I'm telling you, once you get that mindset, the world is yours. All right. That's pretty much everything I got right now. So based on that, we'll kind of just open this back up to open discussion. I'll kind of ask the question to my partner Sean over here. What did you take out of the if you had any notes you jotted down or anything like that? What did you take out of that message? Anything you want to add?
It reminded me a lot of I started outwardly playing music when I was like 13, 14.
Right.
And there was a lot that I've learned, and I spoke to other musicians, and one of the things that I've always understood, and it actually helped me push, is one success is 12 mistakes. Mm-hmm. Is what they've said to me. And it's like every successful musician has failed several times, because that's like, especially performing and playing live shows. Yeah. It's a trial and error basis. Yeah. It's not overnight. You're just not that good at it. If you're good at it, you've been doing it for a while. Yeah.
I and I can attest to that, because obviously you and I have played music together, and I've been in a few bands, and I know exactly what you mean. I remember when I first got into music or making music a long time ago, I thought I had it all figured out. Now it's like I look back on it and I was like, man, how did I ever think I was a vocalist back then? I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't really understand vocal concepts at all. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
And when you were talking about like why people do things, one of the things that I think makes that harder is there are a lot of people that do what they think they should do, not what they want to.
Right.
Which is, they get the idea that you go to college, you get a job, you pay off your, now the loans are insane, but it's like, but they wrap themselves so much around these little jobs that are supposed to pay everything off that they actually forget to do what they want to do. And it's like, if you have to get 3 part-time jobs to pay off to live for everything. It's like, well, what like. I mean, what can you do besides sleep?
Right.
Because,
Yeah, that's really that's the hard part there. Yeah,
and I think there's a deeper reason for doing something. It's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily just go down to an occupation. There's a general. My general characteristic is I'm curious.
Right. Yeah.
And that really is the basis of why I do almost everything I do. But.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I completely agree. There are a lot of young people out there who think, well, going off of what you said, they think, oh, this is nice. I think I should do that. I should do this. Yeah. And instead, they're not asking themselves, do I want to do this? Is this something I want to do? That's why so many young people end up in career fields, and within 6 to 8 months, they're like, I can't stand this job. Yeah. I want to get out of here, and they're just like, what am I doing here? But then they find a way to adapt, and because it's money. Yeah. That's why they're getting a paycheck, and that's how they stop, they earn a living. They may raise a family or not, and then they retire, and then they pass away. They stop stretching. They don't push themselves anymore, and you hear it all the time. So many people complaining about their job, complaining about their work or their career, their bosses, but they don't want to do anything about their situation. They don't want to do anything about it. They just want to complain. They want someone to hear them and understand and go, oh, that's really unfortunate. Honestly, I'm here to kind of be in your face and go, well, what are you going to do about it then? Make a change. What do you want to do? Like, what would you change about your current situation if you could? Yeah. One thing I always ask people when I'm talking to them about their dreams and their futures, I ask them, if money was no object, what would you do right now? What would you be doing right now? If money was no object and you could choose something to do that you love, what would it be? And then based on their answer, I kind of give them some advice on, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, then think about a way that you can do that, but also live in this world. Unfortunately, money isn't everything, but unfortunately, it is everything in this country. Yeah. So you kind of have to be reasonable about certain things. But when that's a question I always ask people is, what would you be doing right now if money was no object? And that's an important question for everybody to ask.
Yeah, one of the ways I've always looked at it is I've noticed there are a lot of people that towards the aspect of life, well, death is the end of it, so they look at it more as what do I have to do to get to that point where
I could die peacefully.
My general opinion of the matter is, what can I do?
Yeah.
And so there's just learning that, and a lot of people I think are afraid of failing or all of this, and I think one of the most helpful pieces of, I don't even know who would have actually said the quote, but nothing is considered a mistake if you learn from it.
Exactly.
Which is how.
That's how
I was raised with a more cynical view on everything. So, a lot of looking at things that way is really the only reason why I've been able to do everything I've done.
Right. No, I agree that that a lot of people, that's really the biggest thing is fear of failure. Yeah. And that's that's another message another time. I'll get more deep into that. But Arnold Schwarzenegger said you can't be afraid to fail, because you can't always win, but don't be afraid of making decisions. You can't be paralyzed by fear of failure, otherwise you will never push yourself. And that goes and that goes all the way down to basics. Like for me, I think about that when I'm training, when I'm in the weight room, and I'm thinking about, man, should I go up? Should I increase the weight on this squat, on this last set of squats? Should I increase the weight on this last set of deadlifts? I'm thinking about, I'm like, I don't know if I can get it all. And then I think about that quote, and I hear I could almost see Arnold Schwarzenegger behind me.
That's scary.
Pumping,
Do it now.
pumping Iron Days, saying you can't be paralyzed by fear of failure. But I always hear that one part, or you will never push yourself. And then actually the quote continues, you keep pushing because you believe in yourself and in your vision. And I think about that and I go, all right, you know what? Let's go ahead and add some more weight. And ultimately I end up pushing and I go, all right, let's do this last set. Let's do this. And, I'm able to get through it. But that really should be a key thing that keeps recurring in your head on a daily basis is don't be afraid to fail. Some of the greatest minds and successful people in this world had some very dramatic failures in order to get to where they are now. And I think I brought this up in the last podcast, saying no champion got it on the first shot.
Yeah.
Nobody got it on the first try. Nobody gets it on the first try. You gotta learn from your mistakes. And that's very, very important. And but going back to when people think about, well, what can I do? It's like, well, honestly, you can do anything. If you really truly believe it, the number one thing when you're thinking about something, well, what can I do? You have to believe it yourself first, because if you're having trouble believing it, how are you going to get anybody else to believe in you? You got to believe it yourself wholeheartedly. And then you also got to be willing to go it alone too, because, most of the time in the success road, man, it's lonely. Sometimes you got to go after it all by yourself and not have anybody else around you. You're not going to meet a lot of friends because it's competitive out there.
Yeah.
But, that's, that's very important to remember. And it's good. Think, from your side of it, especially being a musician for so many years, that's a very good example of, finding out why you do what you do. Yeah. And of course, just continuing to press on through failures and corrections, especially when you're taking advice from other musicians who have been doing it for a long time. So yeah, that's definitely a very good example.
The general reason I do everything is I want to understand how things work, not why they work, but how they work down. Yeah. I mean, computers, audio engineering, down to the ones and zeros. And which is funny because when I was in school for audio engineering, 19 kids dropped out because they thought they were going to be making beats. And it's like, no, it's a physics lesson. You have to know how sound travels.
Yep.
You know, how it's made up. Because it has to be measured down to some kind of a measurement. So you have to understand what it is before you can manipulate it.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Which, I mean, that's fine for me because that's why I'm going to learn about it anyway. But everyone left. And the last thing that I thought about was when you were talking about putting everything off till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think self-motivation goes a lot into that because I've done that before. Because when you record, it could take a lot longer than you think it will. Yeah. So I've put things off before, but one of the things that I've always done is I've never put a challenge off. Yeah. Because if you put a challenge off, it looks bigger the next day. Yeah. It's going to look bigger and bigger every day. You're going to keep, if it's something like basic that you can clearly do. Yeah. The instance that I was in was I was too tired to play a song that I can play when I'm not. And I'm like, okay, this is... Yeah. I can just do it tomorrow. It's not like I have to work. But no, if you have to challenge yourself, don't put it off. Because you'll keep putting it off, which can bring... I feel can bring some of your personal feelings about like confidence down, which... It's snowball effect. Everything starts to come down. And nothing does.
No, that's definitely true. I can definitely, I can definitely attest to that. There have been many times, like way back in the day. Well, I say that like I'm like 50 years old, but I'm not. But it feels like it was that long ago. But many 5-6 years ago when I was trying to improve on football. You know, I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to run. And I knew I had to do sprints. And I knew I had to, you know, weight train on certain things. But I was like especially on legs, like building my leg muscles. But the thing was that I hate running. You know, it's funny that I play football, but I hate running. The number one thing for me is I hate running for no reason. You know, like I feel like if I'm running in a football game, yeah, I have a purpose. For me, I get so specific when it comes to distance running. It's like, oh, I know I have a reason to do this, but it's like, you know, I've gotten better at it now. Now I actually want to run. I look forward to running, but you know, all the 5-6 years ago I was like, man, I hate running, I don't want to run for no reason. Well, you know, back then I wasn't thinking about the subconscious reasons why I needed to run, why I needed to, you know, sprint and do all this stuff. That was to become, you know, a better athlete, to strengthen my legs and to get faster. And I kept saying, oh, I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
You know, and sure enough, like you said, it became more and more daunting because I was like, man, I'm so far behind. I'll only be able to run for like half a mile and I'll have to stop. And, you know, and then the other thing, then the subconscious field comes around. It's like, man, there's going to be other people out there running, or there's going to be more people on the treadmills. I won't be able to run, and I'm going to look out of shape and stuff. And it's just, you start thinking of the wildest things. You start coming up with all these things in your head because you put it off, and now you have to get back on it. You know, now I don't care. You know, I get on that squat rack with 2 bad knees and, you know, start off with 165 on my first set. And I know there are probably, I mean, I don't even think about what other people are thinking, because I know in my head, look, I'm coming off of 2 knee injuries in 1 year. Yeah. I got to strengthen these bad boys up, and I can't just throw 225 on there and hope I get 5 reps. You know what I'm saying? I gotta warm up. I gotta get that strength back. But you know, so now I don't even think about it. You know, I don't even think about how far I can run or how much I can lift. It's like, you know, what matters is what I'm doing, and that's I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. And you know, it even comes down to well, when it comes to training legs, you know, I remember I hated training legs all the way back to high school. I hated it because it goes back to, I never thought I wasn't strong, you know, and I just kept saying, I'll train legs another day. I'll train legs another day. And you know, I actually don't mind the squat exercise. And I used to say years ago, I would squat if I was good at it, AKA if I was strong, if I could put up, you know, 275, 300 pounds on the squat, but I can't. But now I realize it's like, you know what, I have to. I got to start sometime, and I got to do it. I got to do it now. I don't care I don't care how it may, if anybody's paying attention, how it may look to somebody else. You know, I got to train and build up the strength in my legs, so I got to start doing it now. And no matter what the weight is, as long as I know I'm giving it my all when I increase the weights, as long as I know it's a challenge and I'm pushing myself to lift that weight, I don't care. I'm happy. I'll be all like, yeah. And so far, you know, every week I've been able to go up a little bit. So, yeah, that's so putting it off until tomorrow is horrible. Do not do that. Get it done, get it out of the way so you can move on with your life. And that way, next thing you know, that thing you hate doing, that training that you hate doing, becomes a part of your life, and you start doing it on the regular, and you don't even think about it anymore. So
it gets easier the more you do it. If you let it turn into a juggernaut, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you let it turn into a nuisance, boy, it'll be so hard to overcome that. I'll tell you that for sure. For dang on sure, man.
Yep. So,
anyway, what are we at right now? We're at 48, 49 minutes, something like that. Okay. Well, what else you got going on? You got anything planned? Anything big planned for this coming up week? Nothing.
Not right now.
Nothing you can think of.
No.
Yeah. For me, pretty much the same old. Just work. Just, you know, meeting with the clients, training, and playing Magic.
Magic.
Yep, that's pretty much it. And then practice again next week. Hopefully, we get a team to scrimmage out there. team is looking good, man. I'll tell you, we had everybody. Oh yeah, it's looking great. Everybody looks real good. We got a good quarterback, good set of playmakers on our side. Yeah, it's looking good. Looks like it'll be another hopefully a championship year for us. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah. Other than that, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to. I was way off topic, but I'm looking forward for that Godzilla movie coming in May.
Oh, yes.
I was checking out the trailer for that about a week ago, the new trailer, the extended one. And I'll tell you what, I did not realize that Bryan Cranston is in this movie.
Yeah.
He was a pleasant surprise. I was like, "What? Heisenberg?"
He does everything.
Man, he's just made me so much more excited to see this movie.
That's yeah.
And
he's just always amazed me. Well, what surprised me is not because the first time I watched the trailer, I didn't watch it. I was just listening to it.
Oh, just listen. Yeah.
And the only thing that I thought about was, I was like, number one, his voice sounds really familiar.
Right? Yeah.
But I was like, that is the most believable dialogue I have ever heard.
Yeah, because
when he said it's like Bryan Cranston, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why.
When he said, he's like, you have no idea what's coming. I was like, that is so, his voice is so perfect for that. It's just so great. And and when they showed because they showed a lot of clips during that trailer, that extended trailer. When they showed like in the tropical islands when the sun was out, when they showed him coming out, his spikes coming out of the wall, I was like, oh no. Man, he looks huge.
It's like huge. They made him much bigger this time around than they did last
is time. Gigantic. He is bringing back that Godzilla 85 was it? That one, the one that everybody, or it wasn't 95. Was it Godzilla 1995 or Godzilla 1985 or something like that? It was.
There was an 85. There was.
Yeah, I think 85 is the one because at the end he falls in the volcano. I think.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Entirely. But
yeah, I can't remember the name, but everybody that I've been seeing on the threads for the trailers, that they all talk about that one movie. They're like, well, I don't know if it'll top that one. That one's a classic. I was like, no, trust me, man. This is just because of how far we've come in time, and I like the new from what I was able to see. You can't really see too much, but from what little snippets you were able to see of the new design for Godzilla, it looks pretty good in my opinion. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a series that went on for a long time, and what I didn't realize until I looked into it is how bad the 98 film was.
Man.
Because I'm not sure who he is, but he bought the rights to Zilla, as they called it, in a Destroy All Monsters film, and he killed it in about 5-minute battle. It was like, okay, well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that clip. He
it was so quick. It was like, okay.
He whacked it with his tail and it flew, and then he just atomic breathed it and it blew up.
That's it.
That was so funny.
Not even.
Yeah,
not even try.
I saw that clip on YouTube. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a good film.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for May. May is gonna be great. That's when that May 16th. May 16th. I'm saving my AMC gift card to go see that.
Oh yeah.
What other movies are coming out? I haven't been. I saw this before, right when you pulled up. When you got back to the house, I was looking at. I was in my car looking at the a post on Facebook for this new this movie that's coming out April 4th called Alien Abduction. And another one of these.
Another one of
these.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'll watch it anyway. But...
Yeah. Dark Skies wasn't enough. They had to come out, Dark Skies was creepy though. I saw that in theaters. I was creeped out. I mean, anything to do. I mean, I'm not 100% sold on well, I mean, I take that back. I mean, I don't disagree with extraterrestrials at all. I don't disagree with the people saying they're real, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really, I don't know. I'm on both sides of the fence. I say, it's possible, but I'm not I'm not into the hype. You know, I'm just
Yes.
like whatever on it. But this any kind of alien, but any kind of movie though that takes like a like a Dark Skies or Fourth Kind approach, it's creepy nonetheless when you think about it.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, I think it's kind of weird how in all these alien films, none of them know how to communicate.
Yeah.
They never communicate. And
Well,
it's like,
except for the except for the Fourth Kind, because they
Yeah,
were
no,
speaking
they-
Sumerian, and that was
Yeah.
creepy. The voice they had for that was creepy.
well, it makes sense that way, just because it's like, they have. I mean, because I've known some people that actually believe in like alien invasions and
Yeah.
they're already among us, and
Yeah.
all this thing, and it's like, okay, these people are so scientifically advanced than we are,
Yeah.
but they haven't learned how to communicate
Yeah.
like to another.
Yeah.
Why would I don't understand why they would, if they wanted to find something peacefully, unless they wanted you strictly for experimentation
Yeah.
or as like, if they're like slavers,
Which
um,
some people believe that
yeah,
is
yeah.
common. Yeah.
they would at least attempt to communicate in some way, if not by language, by light frequency. I mean, there's tons of different
Yeah.
theories that they have, but
The only
mean-
the only thing I can think of is it's actually from Star Trek First Contact. I call it the Star Trek reason is they're not interested because of this planet. They're not interested because this planet is too primitive. But at the
Exactly.
same time, it wouldn't necessarily explain all of the alien, sighting, UFO sightings and stuff like that. But going back to the film, I was trying to load the trailer up, and that's when you pulled up. I couldn't get it to pull up, but it apparently is apparently based off of this this incident that happened in North Carolina. It's like the something mountain lights, and like this family it gets involved, and it takes place in North Carolina, and apparently it's something that happened. I don't know when, but I was trying to load up the like I said, I was trying to load up the trailer, but it wouldn't load on my phone for some reason. But needless to say, I'll probably end up checking it out at some point.
yeah.
I mean, any of those movies always Dark Skies are really that one really creeped me out. Like Dark Skies had its moments
Yeah.
where I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Any of those alien movies just they're so bizarre. And what's even funnier is I just recently saw a Star Trek episode. I'm going through all the Next Generation
Oh, of
seasons,
course.
so I'm on season
Yeah.
6 right now. And there was this one where the same exact thing was happening to the Enterprise crew. Some people on the Enterprise,
Yeah.
like they were like losing track of time, and they were not getting enough sleep because they would feel like they just laid down, and the next thing you know they'd be like, time to get up again, and they'd be like, what? I just laid down.
Yeah.
So, but what the end result was that there was a temporal rift in the space-time continuum, and these beings were abducting like Commander Riker
Yeah.
and some other part of the crew and bringing them into their dimension. It was like another dimension.
Yeah.
And these creatures were like communicating through clicking and stuff like that, and it was really, really weird, and it was creepy to think about. And it's like, because when they were trying to figure out everything, like I remember Data was kidnapped, and he was like Geordi was like, oh, I need to go to sick bay, and then Data's like, all right, I'll continue the the scan here. They were in the cargo bay, and then Geordi comes back a little bit later, and he's all like, Data was all like, Geordi, I thought you were going to sick bay. He was like, Data, I've been in sick bay for the past hour, and then Data was like, no, you just left approximately, and he said like this many seconds ago, and he was like, Data, I've been gone for an hour, and then Data was all like, he later went ahead and did a scan,
Yeah.
and then he came back and he was all like, He's like, Captain, after he was with Geordi and Captain and Riker, and he was like, after reviewing my, my internal, like my internal scans, there was a point in time for approximately 90 minutes that I was not aboard the Enterprise. And they were like, what? And he was all like, he's like, where were you? I was like, I don't know, but based on my scans, I was not here. And so basically what these creatures would do is that they would pretty much just cut through time and just pull them into another dimension and then send them back, and it would be like they would be gone for a long time, but they'd feel like it's only been like a couple of seconds because of the different.
Well, that's why some people that believe, like, in some of the abduction stories, it's like if they were that smart, that they were that advanced, if they were studying you for scientific reasons, you would have no idea that they're watching you, because that's how.
Yeah, that they kind of tried to play that in The Fourth Kind, but it was like people were having trouble sleeping, and they felt like they were having a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then that's where they went into the hypnosis and did the regressions. And I'm not gonna lie, like some of their stories was really creepy. Yeah. And in the recording that the girl had of herself when she fell asleep in the bed with her tape recorder still playing, and then you hear the door open, the door creaking.
Oh yeah.
And then she just
stops.
Yeah, and then she starts screaming and yelling and going. And she's like being pulled away, and then you can hear them speaking and oh man, that film had me messed up for a while. Then Dark Skies came out. I once saw that, and like, I thought the ending was great. The ending was great, but there was a scene in the movie where there was actually a few scenes in the movie that really tripped me out. But there was one where the mom went into the bedroom of one of their kids and was like, she was like walking, or no, I can't remember exactly, but like she walked in and then came around the corner, and the alien, which must have been like 8 feet tall, was standing over the bed and like looked back at her, and she was like, ah! And then she like ran back and turned on the light and came back, and it was gone. And I was in the theater, and I was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that was good. It was all right. I liked the ending. The ending had an interesting twist to it, but looks like we are,
and that is about it.
Yeah, we are at an hour. Yeah, we are done for today. So let me go ahead and just thank you all very much for tuning in for another session of finally episode 3 after having that little setback with the weather last week. But you know us, we're going to keep grinding as long as weather permits. So we had episode 3 today of A Successful Frontier. Thank you very much. Please give us a like on Facebook. Give us a like on the video too, if you'd be so kind. And please, if you really do enjoy our podcast, please hit the subscribe button as well. And also, like I said in the beginning, all of our doings here made possible through kind donations on GoFundMe.com. Please give kindly if you can. If not, we still appreciate your listening and your subscriptions, and just whatever you can donate if you can. This podcast will remain free for the foreseeable future. Other than that, I believe that is everything. We'll also try and get some writing up on the blog spot as soon as possible.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Continue grinding. Keep grinding, you winners. And we will see you all next weekend. Have a great and successful week. Peace.